On a certain day, the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and among them came Satan as well.
Can Satan really be in heaven? There are two interpretations. Interpretation 1. Satan can be in heaven if God wills for him to be there for a specific event. Satan's presence in heaven is not in the status of an inhabitant. If it is God's will to summon him, Satan cannot refuse it. Satan, in any case, is subject to the sovereignty of God. He can still go to heaven if God so desires, precisely because it is God's will. Satan cannot decline and must appear in heaven, in the presence of the divine assembly, the council of the Lord. Interpretation 2, in Jewish understanding. There are 3 levels of heaven, Shemayim in Hebrew, Greek, Oranos. 1. First level, the horizon. 2. Second level, the celestial bodies and space. And 3. Third level, heaven, also known as the heaven of heavens, Hashemayim Shemayim. You can choose interpretation 1 or 2, however. In the event recorded in the book of Job, God and Satan are engaged in a conversation before a divine assembly.
Whence comest thou?
From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil?
Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand.
If it is God's will to summon him, Satan cannot refuse it. Regardless, Satan is subject to the sovereignty of God. He can still go to heaven if God wills it. It is precisely because it is God's will that Satan cannot refuse, and must be present in heaven. Because of Job's virtuous nature, God proudly presents Job to all heavenly beings in a divine assembly. In response to God's pride in Job, Satan, who is rebellious in spirit, naturally disputes and challenges God by saying, God, you don't need to boast about Job. He is patient and virtuous because he leads a life of plenty. Job enjoys the worldly heaven, the pleasures of the world. I'm not sure, says Satan, if Job will continue to show virtuous behavior if you subject him to trials of poverty and degradation, the world's hell. If we read Job 2:2-3, it mentions that Satan wants to persuade God by harming Job without cause. There seems to be a translation that is lost in translation. And the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? That there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil. He still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him for no reason. Notice the word for no reason. The literal meaning is without cause, kinam. Read Job 1-9, where the word kinam is used. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for no reason, kinam? In this verse, the word kinam means without anything, but Satan interprets it as without wealth, including possessions, family, success. Indeed, Satan sarcastically raises his argument in verses 10-11. Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. Satan's intention in Job 1:10-11 is, what if Job is kinam? Surely Job will curse you if you make him suffer. Therefore, in Job 2-3, the Lord uses the word kinam. which Satan proposed earlier in the divine assembly. That, and the Lord declared, "You have incited me against him to harm him for nothing." And indeed, that's what happened to Job, isn't it? Job later suffered from skin disease, his children died, his wife left him, his wealth vanished, and his friends abandoned him. Job was truly for nothing keenum. In Job 2-3, God repeats the term keenum to highlight the sarcasm of Satan. Job 1-9, after the suffering. And for nothing occurred to Job. It was proven that Job remained devoted to God, even in a state of for nothing. Therefore, Satan's accusation was in vain. God granted power to Satan to destroy Job's wealth and family. However, he limited what Satan could do, as Satan was not given the power to kill Job. In the temptation in the Garden of Eden, Satan insulted God in front of humans. Here, Satan insulted humans in front of God. Yet, Satan used the same subtle technique in both incidents. He began with a question containing sarcasm, then proceeded with a direct accusation against the divine word. Remove Job's prosperity. Eliminate the sources of Job's happiness, family, wealth, and honor that you provided for nothing, he said. And all the righteousness built upon them would collapse on its own. Job was mocked by Satan before God as the spoiled child of God. No wonder he is faithful and lives without fault, as he is showered with blessings for nothing. Greek, direne. Hebrew, keenum. What if that direne is taken away from him? Surely he will curse you. Job 1-9. God accepted the challenge. In truth, by drawing Satan's attention to Job, God, in his unfathomable wisdom, was actually inviting the challenge? And Job continued to demonstrate his loyalty to God. So, what was Job's mistake that led him to be allowed to be tested? Job clung to his subjective thinking, assuming that God could be appeased by sacrifices for the sins of his sons who indulged in feasting. What Job did here was a form of transactional worship. If my children sinned, then Job would immediately offer sacrifices. This type of worship is not devotional worship,